At DSW, we ask the important questions, like, what shoes are you going to wear? Whether you're prepping for wedding season, festival season, or just planning the ultimate vacay, the right shoes can make or break an RSVP. So own the moment. You've got big plans, and we've got just the shoes. At the perfect price, of course. Get ready to get ready with Designer Shoe Warehouse. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today and let us surprise you.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, JoAnn Crone. Hello, my Lolas. How are you? So, you woke up this morning and maybe you told yourself today is going to be different. Today, I'm going to stay calm. And then it happened. Maybe it was the shoes left in the middle of the floor for the fourth time, or maybe it was the whining, or maybe it was just one too many moms in a row. And you heard yourself lose it and just yell. Or maybe you broke down in tears, or maybe you were just really sharp in your words. And the second it was out of your mouth, the guilt hit you. And it hit you so hard. If that is you, you're in the right place because there is nothing wrong with you. Today, we're going to start something I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's going to be a 3-part series all about yelling. And it's not just the stop yelling advice or like take a breath, or because we all know that doesn't work. You've already tried it. You already know you should stop. Today, we're going to go deeper. We're starting with the why. And then part 2 next Thursday is going to be all about the body and the exact tools to interrupt the yelling before it starts. And part 3 is all about repair, what to do after you lose it, because that's actually where the relationship is built. But we're starting here with why. And with that, let's get on with the show. So let's talk about yelling in general, because I know that so many of my clients that I work with, they feel so guilty about yelling at their kids or getting on them for something or having a really, really strong reaction. And I want to tell you right now, yelling is a signal. It is not a character flaw. It is not something inherently wrong with you. It is basically telling you that you need to dig deeper in one area, because every mom who yells already knows she shouldn't, right? Like, knowing is not the problem. Willpower fails in the moment because yelling isn't a decision. It's a reaction. It's your whole body being so wound up and just ready to explode that the yelling just comes out. And it's that gap between who you want to be and how you're actually behaving. That is the guilt trap. A few months ago, I had a guest on the podcast, Dr. Jennifer Reed, and she talked about the mom guilt equation. And the mom guilt equation is basically taking the expectations for the situation and subtracting it from your actual behavior. And that difference, that is how much guilt shows up. So it only makes sense that in yelling, you have so much guilt because you don't want to show up like that. You know that there is something else going on. And I mean, like, I am here saying I have lost it on so many occasions. I mean, there was one time that was memorable to me when I was cooking dinner, and it always, like, the yelling always seems to happen for me at one particular time of day. Is that how it is for you too? Like, can you think of one particular time of day that you're most likely ready to have that reaction? Mine was always dinner when my kids were younger. It was like trying to manage all of the after school stuff, but it was really the after school emotions that got to me. And I remember just stopping what I was doing, putting down the ingredients and just screaming at the wall, like doing this like primal yell because I was so frustrated. Yelling happens when a situation means something threatening to us. And I want that to sit with you because it's not just because you're a bad person. You're not. It's not because you're a bad mom. You're not. It's because something in that moment is threatening you. And whether that's real or not, it doesn't really matter because your body and your mind is interpreting it as a threat. The shoes on the floor don't trigger yelling. It's the meaning about the shoes on the floor. And a lot of moms that I coach, usually the shoes on the floor means something like they never listened to me, or I am not respected in this household, or people and my kids don't care what I want. It's always what they want. It's that meaning that the yelling comes from. And that meaning fires a threat response. The yell comes from there. It's not the shoes. It's this inner thing of like, oh my gosh, nobody loves me enough to put the shoes away. And when you think about it like that, of course your body is going to go into a stress response. Of course your body is going to be like threatened because our connection to other people is so primal to being a human being. We need that connection. We thrive on that connection. So when we feel that we are not respected or we are unloved, of course that is going to make huge reactions in us. So ask yourself, what does it mean when your kid ignores you for the third time? For a lot of moms, it means, and check to see if any of these thoughts exist in you. I'm not a good enough mom, or I've lost control, or nothing I do matters. Those meanings, that is the issue right there. That's really good news because meaning is something that we can work with. Meaning is something that we can change. There is this thought philosophy in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. It's something that I am trained in as a coach. And what it is that you can access any feeling at any time, which is a really empowering thing. It's not meant to be a guilt thing. Like if you're feeling sad, it's not supposed to mean, oh, you should feel happy right there because you can access any feeling at any time. Instead, it's a hopeful thing. It's a place that you can go if you so want to and desire. Because after that yelling, after you release it, then comes the guilt. The guilt of, oh my gosh, I just did that. Or, oh my gosh, I have ruined my kids forever. You haven't ruined your kids forever, by the way. I just want to re-emphasize that point. And that guilt, that's what causes the over-explaining and the over-apologizing, because you probably don't quite understand why that yell even happened. And because of that lack of understanding, not anything due to you, it's just, knowledge happens, learning takes time. Because of that, you are trying to attribute it to all of these other things going on. And the power lies in you. The meaning's in you, which is awesome because we can change that. That cycle that you're in. Yell, guilt, apologize, repeat. It doesn't break the pattern. It just reinforces it. Because I bet you can look back and in no time, if you haven't done anything differently, your guilt doesn't automatically stop you from yelling. It doesn't. You probably find the same thing over and over and over again. That apologizing, it doesn't stop you from yelling and reacting because you haven't yet found the root cause of it. And I promise you that root cause is there. It is there. We're going to help you find it in this 3-part series, by the way, because here's the thing. Shame is not a motivator for change. And that, I just want you to sit and absorb that statement, because a lot of our being raised as kids, shame was used on us a lot as a motivator for change. Such things as like, I can't believe you did that. Oh my gosh, you should go apologize to your sister. Or I didn't raise a child who steals. How dare you? All of this shame was heaped on you. And I'm guessing that shame, it never helped you change. It probably encouraged you to be a little bit more sneaky so you can get away with it. That's what it did for me. I just needed to be sneaky. There was this one time that I was very, very mad at one of my friends, and it was in fifth grade. We just gotten our pictures, our school pictures, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, my pictures are so beautiful. I look so good in my pictures." And I looked at my pictures and I'm like, I look a little chopped. And chopped is a phrase that I've got borrowed from my Gen Z daughter, by the way. So if you're not familiar with the phrase chopped, it doesn't refer to the Food Network show. It is basically saying that you don't like the way you look. You feel you look ugly. So I had taken my friend's pictures and I had hidden them under the garbage can and she couldn't find them. And it was almost joyous to me watching her look for her pictures everywhere. But then came the guilt, and rightly so, because guilt can be a motivator for change used appropriately. And I felt bad. And so when my dad picked me up, I said, "Oh, my friend lost her pictures. Why don't we go look for it in the Ramada?" And I found them a little too quickly, and he suspected. He caught me out. He suspected me. I came clean. There was a lot of shame. There was a lot of, how dare you steal? You shouldn't do that. Don't do that again. It didn't teach me not to steal or not to enact revenge. I mean, guys, I'm being so truthful with you here. Like, so truthful. What it did teach me is I shouldn't tell on myself when I do that because I'm going to get caught, right? Shame is not a motivator for change. Shame is only a motivator to not share. Thinking back to yourself, shame cannot be used on you after yelling because the guilt you feel after yelling, it makes sense. It means you care. It means you don't want to do the same thing over and over again. I didn't want to keep making people feel like pain or worry that their pictures were gone in fifth grade. I don't want to scare my kids by yelling. But here's the problem. Guilt without understanding just leads to more yelling. You feel terrible, you white knuckle it for a day or two, and then the same trigger comes out and the same thing happens. We're not breaking that cycle today with willpower. We're breaking it with understanding. And what I really, really want you to know is that yelling is your nervous system's smoke alarm going off. Think of it like that. The alarm isn't the problem. It's a signal that something underneath needs attention. And that's what this series is about. You know what nobody tells you about parenting? That doing it well actually starts with taking care of yourself. And I know that sounds completely obvious, but how many of us are actually doing it? I've been in therapy, and I'll be honest, it changed everything for me. I started seeing patterns I didn't even know I had, beliefs I'd been dragging around for years. And just by naming them, I started to change how I see the world, how I react, how I ask for what I need. It was like finally getting this manual to myself that I didn't know I was missing. That's why I want you to have access to that too. But finding a good therapist who actually takes your insurance, that's where most people get stuck and give up. That's exactly what Rula solves. Rula is a healthcare company that matches you with a licensed therapist based on your specific needs, not just whoever happens to be available. They work with over 120 insurance plans, so the average copay is just $15 a session. No wait lists, no frustrating back and forth. Appointments can be available as soon as tomorrow. You use insurance for your kids' checkups, your mental health deserves the same. Thousands of parents are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that's covered by insurance, and so can you. Visit rula.com/NGM to get started. That's RULA.com/NGM. One thing experts and parents tend to agree on is that learning to swim isn't just about strokes. It's about confidence, safety, and consistency. Goldfish Swim School takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water. And honestly, that tracks with everything we talk about on this show. Kids grow when they feel safe, supported, and not rushed. Goldfish gets that. They use something called the science of swim play, which blends guided play with proven teaching techniques so kids build real water safety skills at their own pace. Their pools are warm, the spaces are designed with kids in mind, and every single lesson has a certified lifeguard on deck. Every one. They offer lessons for kids from 4 months old through 12 years, and their app makes scheduling and makeups actually doable for busy families. If you're ready to take the next step, Goldfish Swim School has a special offer just for listeners. Waived membership and your first lesson free at participating locations. Head to goldfishswimschool.com/free. Find your local school and use promo code FREE to enroll. It's an easy way to get started with lessons that focus on safety and confidence and real progress in the water.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Let's talk about what is actually happening here. The threat response and your brain. When your brain detects a threat, whether it is a real threat or a perceived threat, your amygdala fires. You know, your amygdala, it's this tiny little part in the back of your head. If you're watching me on YouTube, you can see me pointing to right where it is, right behind your ear. And it's your fight or flight response. It's the one part of your brain that's like danger, danger, danger. It floods your system with adrenaline, and it doesn't know the difference between a lion who wants you for their supper and your kid who won't put on their shoes. I mean, isn't that a funny, kind of contrast? One, you could logically be like, yes, that's totally dangerous. And one, you're like, oh, that's not a threat. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference. It's a threat to it. And when that amygdala fires and when so much adrenaline enters your system, your prefrontal cortex, that's the part right here, that's the part that controls executive function, that's the part that makes all your logical decisions. It's rational, it's patient, it's wise. That part goes offline. That amygdala overrides it. So you're not choosing to yell in that moment. Your brain has already decided that we're going off right here. We need to respond to the threat. And have you ever said something in a fight and then you thought, why did I say that? Like that's not even what I think, or maybe it's a really, really small part of what I think. And I said that really, really little small part to make the other person feel pain, right? That's your prefrontal cortex coming back online 5 seconds too late. The yell already happened. That is not weakness. That is just how we work. So think of it in terms of your personal triggers, because remember, we're looking for the meaning behind the yelling. And there are so many meanings to look at. We can look at the physical meanings, the physical triggers that happen, the emotional triggers, and the situational triggers. And when I talk about triggers, it is the event that happens that then causes that meaning to then be formed, and then the yelling fires. So when we think about physical triggers, think about when you're hungry, when you're exhausted, when you're overstimulated and you've just had so much noise all day, or when you've been touched out. Like, oh my gosh, that touched out experience, so real, especially if you have younger kids crawling on you all day, wanting you to hold them. Touched out is real. It's real. Let's think about your emotional triggers. That feeling unappreciated, the feeling invisible, the feeling like you're failing or you're a failure. And then think about your situational triggers. Maybe when you're running late and feeling really, really rushed, or maybe it's during that transition time, like homework time or bedtime or morning routine. Think through those that I just said. Do any of those triggers really affect you? Because I want you to pinpoint right now, When do you yell? I mean, I shared a little bit earlier that I tended to yell during that dinner time hour when I was trying to fix dinner and my kids still needed lots of things. That time, it's not about what makes you yell, it's the when. Is it always at 5 p.m.? Is it always in the car? Is it always right after you've been on back-to-back calls? Because the when then tells you a lot about the why. You're not a random yeller. You actually have a pattern. And once you can see the pattern, you can start doing something about it. Because most yelling, it doesn't happen because of one thing. It happens because of 17 things that are stacked right on top of each other. It's the shoe on the floor. That isn't the thing. It's the last thing before you broke. It could have been before that, the mental load you had going on in your head, the unfinished to-do list, and looking at it and thinking to yourself, I am so unproductive. I am such a failure because I didn't get my to-do list done. The clutter and the boxes that are lining your hallway that every time you walk by them, you're like, oh my gosh, if I could only get it together and put some stuff away. The dinner that you forgot one ingredient at the store for, and now you have no idea how you're going to make. That's the real context of the yell. It's everything leading up to it. And when you lose it over something really, really small, it's almost never that thing. It's about everything that thing represents at the end of an already full day. And understanding that, it doesn't excuse the yell, but it completely changes how you approach fixing it. So now we're going to go through a little bit of a yelling audit. And this yelling audit, it is meant to help you find that trigger, find that time of day when you yell. So if you have a piece of paper by you, that's the best way to do this. Bring that piece of paper by, get a pen or a pencil, or maybe like pull open the notes app on your phone. And here's what I want you to think about. I have 3 questions for you. You ready? Okay. Question number 1. When do I yell? What's the time of day? What's the situation? What's usually already happened that day? Pause this episode if you need to write any of these answers down. Okay, we're going to go on to question number 2. What does it mean? Now, this one's a little harder to dig into. When I'm working with coaching clients, this is one that we spend a lot of time on because the meaning is usually the reason, the emotional reason behind the reaction. So ask yourself this question. When the trigger happens, what story am I telling myself in that moment? And some examples are, I am unappreciated. I'm not respected by my kids. They take complete advantage of me. I've done so many nice things for my kids all day, and they're showing no appreciation. Why can't my 2-year-old stick by me when I take her to the park? There must be something wrong with me. Those are all meanings that we associate with the trigger. So just write down what that means. And then question number 3, what am I actually needing under the yell? Is it rest? Is it respect? Is it to feel like I'm not alone in this? Now, with these questions, you do not have to fix anything today. I'm not asking you to never yell again by Tuesday. I'm just asking you to get curious, because the moms I've seen change the most, they're not the ones who gritted their teeth harder or tried harder. They're the ones who got really honest about what was actually going on. They're the ones who weren't afraid to look at their struggles and take complete responsibility for them. I think this is a really, really big thing that I want to get across to you, because there's a big difference when you decide to take complete responsibility of your behavior or you attribute your behavior to other people. When you attribute your behavior to other people, such as, oh, the kids, they won't stop complaining. They don't appreciate me. Only if my husband just cared more or thought ahead, or got dinner ready on time. You're giving up your power. You're giving up your control because you have no impact on these other people, like no direct impact anyways. You can't magically make them change what they're doing. The power lies in you and your behavior and the fact that you can change your behavior. You don't have to know how yet. All I want you to do is believe that you can change your own behavior. And when you have that solid belief, oh my gosh, huge, huge things are going to start happening in your life. And if you don't believe that yet for yourself, just borrow my belief in you. I believe that you can change your behavior. I believe that you have the power and the control. And that's not to say you should be using it already. You just don't know how yet. But I know that it's going to happen for you. I know. So these 3 questions, again, really quickly. When do I yell? What does it mean? And what am I actually needing? I would love to hear from you on this, by the way. So if you want to DM me on Instagram at NoGuiltMom with just the answer to that first question, when do I yell? Just tell me that. I would love to hear from you. Okay, so summer is basically knocking on the door, and all I want to do is plan a fun family trip without that little voice in the back of my head going, can we actually afford this? You know that voice. We all know that voice. Monarch is the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, savings goals, and spending. Get your first year of Monarch Core for half off, just $50 with promo code NOGUILT. So my husband and I started using it, and honestly, that moment of clarity was when it surfaced every single one of our recurring expenses, subscriptions I'd completely forgotten about, things I had to hunt down the email addresses for just to cancel. It even helped us start thinking seriously about when my husband can retire. And my favorite feature, the AI weekly recap. It flags spending spikes, net worth shifts, and upcoming expenses so nothing sneaks up on you. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket, but without the awkward small talk. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. You know that thing where you're doing all the right things, eating your veggies, getting your kids to actually eat theirs, staying hydrated, and you still feel kind of off? Yeah. Me too. Turns out most of us have small nutrient gaps we don't even know about. And with our packed schedules, it's honestly really hard to cover all the bases through food alone. That's what led me to First Day. And honestly, it has become one of my favorite parts of the morning. I actually look forward to taking my vitamins, which if you know me and how many supplements I take, it's saying a lot. They are so good and I never forget them. No nagging myself, no skipping, just 2 gummies and done. What I love most is that they actually make different formulas for toddlers, kids, teens, and adults. So it's tailored to your stage of life. It's a blend of 21 organic superfoods and 9 key vitamins with no added sugars, no artificial dyes, nothing sketchy. They test for 200 plus toxins and have the Clean Label Purity Award, so you feel really good about what you're giving your family. Over 1 million families have already started using First Day, and they back it with a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there's zero risk. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting an insane deal. Use code NGM to get up to 57% off at firstday.com. That's up to 57% off and a free gift with code NGM at firstday.com. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
We're nearing the end of part 1 of our 3-part yelling series. And here are some things that I really, really want to make sure that you leave with. First of all, yelling isn't a character flaw. It's like a smoke alarm. It's a signal. It's telling you something else is up that needs your attention. The second is the trigger is rarely what it looks like on the surface. It's the meaning you are giving it underneath. It is not the clothes on the floor. It is that meaning that you're feeling unappreciated, or you're feeling out of control, or that you're not a good enough mom because your kids don't listen to you. And then third, understanding that pattern, that's the most important step. That is what needs to happen first. And I hope that through this episode, you got a little bit more insight on what your pattern might be, because it's different for everybody. Now, next week in part 2, we're getting into the body, because here's the thing. Your body starts to yell before your brain even knows what's happening. And I'm going to give you 3 body-based tools you can use in under 60 seconds in the moment, even when you can't leave the room. You're not going to want to miss this. And hey, if you're listening on Spotify, can you hit the follow button right now? It's the best way to make sure part 2 lands in your feed next week. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, go subscribe to the No Guilt Mom podcast. It helps me reach more moms like you. And remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you, and I'll see you later.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.